The price Britain paid to save 10,000 kids from Hitler. Intro hook. We'd love to believe the Kindertransport was a clean win. Britain flinging its doors open, 10,000 little refugees streaming in, tidy rows of coats and name tags, volunteers waving like it's the final scene of a feel-good war film. But the camera always pans away too soon. The same deal that put those kids on the platform also left their parents on the wrong side of the gate, made charities cough up £50 per head, and quietly locked the door on almost everyone else. So yeah, Britain saved 10,000 children, but the invoice, written in small print, was handed straight to the kids themselves. Section 1. The night everything changed. Kristallnacht hot, the 9th of November 1938. Synagogues become bonfires. Shop windows shatter like cheap glass. 30,000 Jewish men vanish into the first camps. In Berlin, 13-year-old Inge Deutschgren hears boots on the stairs and holds her mum tight. Morning papers in London splash the photos. Charred prayer books. Smoke over Vienna. Letters flood Parliament, cousins begging, "Take the children. Just the children." Whitehall had already tightened the visa tap. Officials fretted about social tension. But public disgust after Kristallnacht was too loud to ignore. Home Secretary Sir Samuel Hoare makes a grand gesture. Jewish kids can come, no visa, no quota. First, every child needs £50 up front, about £3,500 today. Second, parents aren't invited. They can wave, they can cry, they cannot climb aboard. Deal or no deal. Section 2. The paperwork wall. Before the first train moves an inch, the refugee children's movement has to scare up £500,000 in guarantees, line up foster homes for 10,000 unknown kids, and persuade Britain that these little Germans won't steal jobs. So teachers, Quakers, Jewish women's groups camp out at kitchen tables, licking envelopes in the rain. £5 here, a spare bedroom there. Every signature matters, one missing £50, and a child stays behind. The Home Office adds its own hurdles: medical forms, school certificates, a sworn promise the kid will leave when the crisis ends. Try getting a doctor's note in Vienna where Jewish medics can't treat Aryans. Late November 1938, the first train slides out of Berlin's Friedrichstraße with 196 children. Each carries a suitcase, a numbered tag, and a wax paper sandwich. Volunteers count heads twice because one empty seat can collapse the queue behind. Parents press faces to glass, silently repeating, "Say brav, be good." The train moves, the platform stays, and suddenly the world is the size of a carriage corridor. Section 3. Who got left behind? 9 months. Roughly 10,000 children saved, not families, not the most desperate. Selection rules were brutal. Teenagers with working hands leap to the front. Boys edge out girls. Boys are more at risk of labor camps. Babies under 2, practically impossible. They need mothers, and mothers are barred. In Vienna, social worker Lola Hahn-Vorg sits through 100 interviews an afternoon. A knock, a signature, a bank transfer, open door, or closed. Parents forge birth dates, slice years off toddlers' ages. Others hand wedding rings to border guards so a son can sneak past curfew. None of it guarantees escape. It's just a ticket in a lottery where the vast majority lose. Crunch the numbers. 1.6 million Jewish children under Nazi rule. 0.5% made it out on the Kindertransport. The rest become the numbers we know too well. Section 4. Britain's political calculation. Why did Britain bother? Altruism, sure, sprinkled on top. Downing Street feared letting whole families in would spark a revolt. Headlines screamed alien flood. Labour MPs worried about jobs. Tories about foreign infiltration. Unaccompanied minors were safer. Politics, cute, cheap, temporary. The £50 bond kept them off the Treasury's back. The whispered promise that parents would follow, quietly buried. Officials knew most never would. Compared the US. Congress strangled the Wagner-Rogers bill that would have taken 20,000 kids. British diplomats pointed across the Atlantic and said, "See, at least we did something." Even that something had an expiry date. War breaks out the 3rd of September 1939. The last scheduled train from Berlin halts on the platform. Children, already seated, are hauled off. One photo shows a boy hugging a teddy. Station clock frozen at 11:15 a.m. Section 5. Growing up in a strange land, fell asleep to German lullabies. Tonight you re in Coventry with a Methodist couple who call you love and serve something brown called Marmite. Fell asleep to German lullabies. Tonight you re in Coventry with a Methodist couple who call you love and serve something brown called Marmite. You're 11. Last night you fell asleep to German lullabies. Tonight you re in Coventry with a Methodist couple who call you love and serve something brown called Marmite. Some kids saw. Walter Kress lands from Vienna, joins the RAF, later flies bombing, runs over Berlin. He never cracks a joke about it. Others wet the bed for months and wind up in foster parents mean well, but rules are rules. A boy gets the cane for slipping into Yiddish at dinner. A girl in Yorkshire is told to sing like an English child. Letters from home trickle, then stop. 1941. Red Cross, one-way messages, Lieber Peter, we are proud of you. Envelopes stamped Absender, unbekannt sender unknown. War ends. The few who find surviving relatives return to looted flats. The majority, now teenagers in British uniforms, discover they've become 10,000 orphans with clipped accents. Section 6, The Invisible Bill. By 1945, newspapers trumpet the Kindertransport as proof of British big-heartedness. Sir Nicholas Winton, who hustled 8 trains out of Prague, becomes a modest legend. Statues rise. Documentaries feature misty reunions. But the bill keeps dripping interest. Survivor Bertha Leverton wrote, "They saved our bodies and lost our childhoods. Therapy. Not a thing. Grief was swallowed with army rations. Some former children anglicize their names, marry locals, and bury the past. Others spend decades combing Red Cross files for a lost sister's last photograph. Compensation. Post-war Britain ruled voluntary refugees didn't qualify. Parents who once pressed their palms to the Berlin platform glass because £50 and a government promise felt like hope died instead in Auschwitz, Riga, Minsk. Their names survive only as marginalia on passports. Mother remained in Berlin. Section 7, The Debate We Still Dodge. Ask around today, and most Brits nod approvingly at the Kindertransport. Ask about modern child refugees, and the same conversation stalls. We can take everyone. Charities should pay. They might be a burden. Historian Dr. Andrea Hamel calls the Kindertransport a drop in an ocean of indifference. It worked because it was photogenic, small, and temporary. Flash forward. 2016. The UK pledges 3,000 loan. Syrian kids under the Dubs Amendment explicitly modelled on the Kindertransport. 2 years later, the scheme shuts down at 480. The moral arithmetic hasn't shifted. Rescue is always possible when we decide the price is worth paying, but the price, whether £50 or political points, still lands hardest on the kids we claim to protect. Call to action 1. If this feels like ancient history, Google Refugee Council or Safe Passage today. They're still shepherding lone miners to safety. A tenner or a quick email to your MP keeps the original promise alive. Section 8, A Reckoning in Plain Sight at Liverpool Street Station. Commuters stride across a polished brass list of rescued children's names. Few glance at the quieter plaque added in 2020. In memory of the parents who entrusted their children to strangers, Dame Stephanie Shirley arrived at 5. Tag number 25 now funds research into refugee trauma. She keeps the tag in her desk. It's not a medal, she says. It's a receipt. The receipt tallies 10,000 lives saved, countless families severed, a national conscience purchased at £50 a child. The math is ugly, but at least it's honest. Call to action to history doesn't ask for a rerun. It asks us to finish the job. Write, donate, volunteer, vote whatever lever you can reach. The next train is already overdue. Conclusion. The Kindertransport stands as both Britain's proudest humanitarian moment and its most chilling moral bargain. 10,000 children lived because Britain could, and their parents died because Britain chose. The price wasn't counted in pounds but in lullabies never finished. In birthdays missed, in family trees chopped by policy as cleanly as by gas. So the next time someone tells the cozy story of neat coats and name tags, picture the platform after the train pulls away, parents turning, pockets suddenly lighter by £50 and one final kiss. The children reached Britain, their childhoods didn't. That was the real price paid in full. No change given.